Thank you. Welcome, Sydney. Welcome to our presentation today. If you guys have any question, please do write in the chat box so that we can answer them at the end of the presentation. So let's begin. Can you see my screen? Yeah, thank you. So why we are focusing, what we are focusing in this presentation today is that we all know that Sydney is going through a property storm, property boom, and it is never more important than today that we invest very carefully in the suburbs, in the location which we think can give us maximum return and minimize the risk. So here we are basically going to try to help you to understand how to analyze the Sydney property market in terms of investment you're looking to do as an investor or as a home buyer. Now, I believe that at the moment, we are going through a perfect property storm. Since COVID hit in March 2020, Sydney has experienced 15 to 20% growth in every year in last 2 years. And in fact, this year it was more than 25%. And why it's happening? So before even we go further, let's focus on the causes, the reasons why the property market is booming so much. Based on our understanding, this recipe has a number of ingredients. The prime ingredients are government incentives, private investment, and government infrastructure expansion. So government incentives like first home builder grant and first home buyer grant and home builder grant, had a lot of first aspiring home buyers to put their foot under inside the door and buy their first property. The infrastructure plan which government have, which I'm going to discuss further in the presentation in next few slides, you will understand where the government is planning, why is government is expanding and planning to spend so much in NSW in terms of transport infrastructure. And private investment, these guys are guys, they don't do investment for charity. They want to do investment to earn money. And if we follow them where they are investing, it means we are following the more analytical approach which they have already applied in their research. Because of these three, we have seen the surge in purchases, mostly from home buyers in last 2 years, and the investors followed them. And it also got into further induced by the low interest rate, which RBA have introduced almost 1.5 years ago. And because of this low interest rate, we have seen a phenomena which we haven't seen before, which is called cheaper to buy than rent. When we say cheaper to buy than rent, it means because of the low interest rate, a lot of aspiring home buyers who want to buy their first property, what they were able to do is they were able to buy the property in the newly created suburbs at the and still pay less EMI or same EMI as compared to their rent, which will help them to consider to buy their first property. As a result, furthermore, Australia success in COVID management has created a lot of interest in international market, and we're expecting to have more demand to be created in upcoming months from returning expats, immigration, foreign investors, and international students. And thus, as a result, we have two things happening right now. First, lower supply than demand, which I'll further explain in next slide, and also fear of missing out. In short, we call FOMO. As of today, the Sydney market is experiencing more demand than supplies in housing market, especially in residential real estate. And that's the reason we believe that it is better to invest in Sydney as compared to other cities like Melbourne or Brisbane, because in long run, in last 100 years, Sydney has shown more stable growth as compared to other cities in Australia. A quick question to the audience here. What do you think is your #1 criteria to buy a property? If I ask you what is a one factor you would consider before you buy a property for yourself as an investment or a home, whatever it is, what would be your first criteria? Any answers? No. Okay. Well, somebody said something, and I'll show you what is a popular saying. The most popular factor which people say they would consider before buying the property is location. And when it has been asked again, what is your number 2 criteria? The same guy said location, and number 3, location. This guy loved location so much that he has repeated it 3 times. Location, location, location. And it surprises me. Is it really true? I think I'm not concurring with this theory that location is your number 1 criteria to buy the property. Why? Because let me give an example. Let's say you have a beautiful building which is recently constructed in one of the very good location, which is only 10 minutes drive from Sydney CBD. It has beautiful interior, good architecture. There's a school nearby. There's a market nearby. Would you like to buy a property in that building? Would you like to buy an apartment in that building? Say yes or no, please. No answers. Okay. Well, what if I say I'm going to give you the apartment or the property in that building 50,000 below the market value? Would you buy it? Any answers, guys?
I'll pay you a deposit now.
Thanks, Ali. Thank you so much. Well, Ali, what would you do if I tell you that in this building, at least 50 to 60% people who live in this building are unemployed? Would you still give me that deposit?
Okay, I changed my mind.
Okay. So if you change your mind in less than 1 second after hearing that, then it means that location is not everything. Location is not cannot be number 1 criteria. Then what is the number 1 criteria? For us, the number 1 criteria is demography. People, you and me. We create the value in the location. We create the value in the property. So if I say that the building which I just discussed, if I give you the same building apartment where at least 60 to 70% people are managers or high-level professionals working in Sydney CBD, will you buy the property now? Probably yes. And you would even be ready to pay a premium. So the location is not number 1 criteria, guys. It's the people who live in that place, because that's tell you what kind of environment you're going to bring your family, or what kind of people you're going to hand over your property for a rent to. And then the second best criteria is location. And the third is price and quality. For what quality you are paying what price. So these 3 factors are the most important factors before you consider any suburb, any place you want to invest your money, hard-earned money in. And I'm going to touch all these 3 things one by one. So the suburb which we have shortlisted has the upcoming $3+ billion investment in its business park. If you are living in a small suburb, and I say there's $100 million new school coming next to your suburb, in your suburb, your property prices would increase, right? I'm talking about $3 billion private investment coming in business park, guys. This investment is expected to create 11,500 jobs. A $300 million new hospital is coming up in nearby suburb. This small suburb has its own market town, and that market town is also going to have an upgrade where 1,000 new apartments being constructed and a mixed commercial and residential space is being created, which will create additional 3,300 jobs. So within this small suburb, we are expecting around 15,000 new jobs. On the top of that, this suburb is so well placed that around this suburb, we are expecting in total of 60,000 new jobs in the next few years. So that's why we handpicked this suburb, because we follow where government and private investors are going and why they are going. So this is going to be a new smart city in Sydney region. Such a small suburb, which did not even existed 3 years ago. I'm talking about Norwest. Norwest was a part of Walkham Hills. Government has crafted it out of Walkham Hills, And it's Bockham Hills, we already know, is one of the most premium suburb in Northwest region of Sydney. And they have crafted out of it. And this is a very well-placed area located between Rouse Hill, Castle Hill, and Bockham Hills. And if you are from this area, if you are from Sydney, I don't think I need to explain much how good these three suburbs are: Rouse Hill, Castle Hill, and Bockham Hills. And this is situating right in between them. And it has its own business park. It has its own school. There's a new metro station is already there. So basically, that's why we have picked this suburb, and we're going to explain now the second most important factor, the first most important factor which we believe should be considered why this suburb is going to be a value in long run. That is demography. So I started with we did some research on household and ownership, and we decided we have seen the numbers are remarkable. If you look at this graph, you can clearly see that less than 20% of the properties in this suburb are available for renting. It means if you are an investor and if you buy a property in this suburb, you will not have a difficulty in renting your property out as compared to Parramatta, Westmead, or other business centers. Why? Because the number of this rented property is much higher in those suburbs, and there's more supply than demand for renting. But in this suburb, there'll be a shortage in foreseeable future. It means even if you buy as an investor in this suburb, you're always going to get a good rental yield, and for a long period of time. Let's see what kind of composition, what kind of people live in this suburb. So I looked at the household composition, and I was amazed again. 83% people who live in this suburb are family household. 83%. It means if you are going to buy a property for yourself, you're going to live in a suburb where people want to connect it to their neighbors. People are who's going to take care of each other, and people who are community oriented. It means this is a place where you want to raise your family in. If you look at the employment and income chart, look at this income chart. Only 5.1% people are unemployed. This can be college students, or this can be retired. 95% people in this suburb have some sort of employment. This is amazing, guys. If you look at the household income, the household in this suburb, when I compared with the rest of the NSW, this is what I got. The average NSW household income is $1,486 per week, whereas this suburb has $2,219 per week, which means that average household income is more than $105,000 a year in this suburb, and this is average. So you are already talking about the premium people who are highly educated, people who are living with their families. They are not party lovers. They are people who wants to raise their community, want to raise their children in a good community. A suburb which is very well located, a suburb for which both private investors and government investment have good future plans. It's going to be one smart city in the future. The average population in this suburb is 40, which basically goes back to what we're saying, that 83% are family household. So that's an ideal average age for a husband and wife with the kids. Now, we also want to discuss what kind of people live here. Are they tradies? Are they businessmen? What kind of people live there? Since this is a very new suburb, we did not get the data for this suburb. So we got the data of Bockham Hills, which is a mother suburb of Norwest. And you will be surprised, 50% people in this suburb are either managers or high-end professionals. 50%, which is amazing. And whereas the whole NSW average, even if you look at Sydney CBD and all Macquarie Park and all that, that is only 41%. We have discussed three things already. We have discussed the location. We have discussed the demography. Now we have discussed two things. Now we have to discuss a third thing: price and quality. And for that, we have handpicked one project in that suburb, only one project which we believe is worth of your money, a project which can give you not only peace, probably the best, one of the best peace of mind and good investment, and also it is very well located. So let me, before even I discuss the project, let me discuss the team who has developed that project. So you have more confidence what you are buying and where you're buying from. But why we are saying that you can, if you want to invest in Norwest, you can also invest in apartments. Not all the people are interested in investing apartments. Guys, if you look at the current house market price, the prices are skyrocketing. But what do you mean? You shouldn't you invest? I think you should still invest. But buying an apartment in Norwest is still smarter than buying house and land in some random suburb, because we have a data to back our theory. And that data is this. This was taken on December 6, 2021 from realestate.com.au. And this is the median value of the apartments, the gray line, and the median value of the houses, and orange line. And if you look at this, when the lockdown happened in July 2021. And even during that time, if you look at the screen again, the prices kept on rising, and they are rising for apartments faster than the houses in this suburb. And they are already selling very fast. Why? Because people know what they are buying. People are buying the quality of life, quality of suburb, the value which the investments are going to bring from both from public sector and the private sector in the suburb. Just to back up my theory, why the apartments in Norwest are better investment as compared to apartments in other suburbs, as well as probably the house and land in some distant suburbs. Because if you look at this, this is a median value of apartments over last year and a half in Norwest Fall in Hillshire Council. There is not even a single month when the median value of Norwest apartments has gone below the Hillshire Council altogether. It means this is a suburb which is keeping the entire council in a good numbers. This is a suburb which numbers are giving a better reputation to Hillshire Council. If I talk about the location further, you see this blue line. The blue line represents the metro, and it takes 48 minutes from Norwest to go to Sydney CBD through this metro. And if you look at this dotted line, the dotted line represents that where the metro is going to be expanded in future. And this is a Western Sydney Airport where the government is already doing expansion or planning an expansion. If that happens, you know what will happen to your property prices. So it is better to invest now rather than 2 years from now when all developments have done and prices probably have gone up. Let me tell you one thing. If you look at this location, Norwest is very well situated. It is only few minutes away from Parramatta, few minutes away from Penrith, 48 minutes away from Sydney CBD, and only 30 minutes or 30 odd minutes it will be away from Western Sydney Airport once the metro line is completed. Can you imagine a better centralized location than this? What's next? What we have more? As I already told you, Norwest has its own market town, and it's also very close to Rousel Town Centre. In total, they're going to have more than 500 shops, cafes, restaurants. Rousel Hospital is coming up with an investment of $300 million, and Norwest is one of the very small suburbs, but it also has its own business park. So we have discussed everything. We have discussed the quality, we have discussed the demography, the location. But I just said one more thing. Price is not good enough unless, quality is not good enough unless we know what price you are paying for it. And for that very reason, we have done some financial research as well for you, and we're going to share that with you in a moment. So these are taken from realestate.com.au, the largest real estate lister in Australia. These are the prices of the median prices for the all property, including houses, apartments, and townhouses in Norwest region. The median rent. The median value of 2-bedroom is $815,000 in this, and that median rent 2-bedroom gets is $600 per week. Now, let me first clear what is median. I guess most of you know already about it, but not all people knows about it. So let me just try to explain. Median is a value of a middlemost property, middlemost listing. So let's say if you have 21 apartments or 21 properties being sold in this suburb, arrange them in any ascending or descending order, and it is a value of 11th property, value of the middlemost property. It is not the average. So it tells you that half of the property are being sold above this price and half of the property being sold below this price. So if I go back to that screen, the median value of 2-bedroom is 850. Remember that, guys, I'm just going to use it as a benchmark for my financial evaluation. And the rent for the median 2-bedroom, which can be a little bit old, 2-bedroom apartment, is 600 per week. Now, are we going to get how well this project is priced? Is it going to make me money, or is it going to make me losses in the beginning when I buy? So for that, we have done one more thing. We have done a rental comparison of this suburb with close by suburbs. So we're going to consider 3 suburbs: Norwest, Castle Hill, and Rouse Hill. Why? Because these suburbs are right next to each other. All these 3 suburbs are premium suburbs. Macquarie Park, Epping, and Chestwoods are the suburbs on the right-hand side, eastern side of Parramatta. They are considered closer to Sydney CBD, and all are premium. And to be honest, Norwest is giving them a run for their money, guys. So if you compare Norwest, Castle Hill, and Tallawang, it is the highest rental yield generating suburb in among these 3 suburbs. And we already know Rouse Hill and Castle Hill are very premium suburb. People would love to go and live there. So having said that, this is a suburb which is giving you good rental yield. This is a suburb which has a good demography. This is a suburb which is very well, the project is very well located. Now I'm going to discuss with you some financials to show how you, let me just, some financials. This is just an estimation. I try to be very conservative. This does not apply to all because everybody's financial situation is different. So you please talk to your financial planner, talk to your mortgage broker before you consider these numbers absolute. These numbers are not absolute. There are some assumptions being made, but this has been done just to give an idea how well your price this project is as compared to others. This is a project which ticks almost all the boxes I can imagine. Good location, good demography, good investments in nearby areas, developments happening both by private and public players, and the pricing is correct based on what we have seen. If you have any questions, please do let me know.